Hey, what's up folks? Welcome back to my channel and welcome to another money lesson. If you're here for the first time and if you like the content, please take a moment to subscribe and don't forget to hit that notification bell. Also, please leave your comments, good or bad, so that I can continue to provide you with the kind of information you need to improve your financial well-being. One of the things that plays an important role in your financial well-being is your credit score. So today I want to talk to you about how you can join the 800 Club. So stick around, I'll break it all down for you in just a second. Now first of all, you should know that only about 20% of Americans have a credit score of 800 or higher. The average FICO score in America is around 711, and the average Vantage score is around 688. And in case you're wondering, your FICO score is what most lenders use to determine your credit worthiness. Your Vantage score is the score you see on most of these free credit score sites, such as Credit Karma or Credit Sesame. Now both scoring systems look at your financial behaviors in the same basic 5 categories, but they each use slightly different weightings in some categories. Generally speaking though, the two scores should be fairly close most of the time, but just know that they could be different depending on which categories of financial behaviors you may need to improve. So how do you get to 800 or better? Well, let's break down the categories and points so that you can better understand where you need to focus your attention. For this lesson, I'm going to use the FICO scoring model since that's what most lenders use. Again, your Vantage score may be different, but if you practice good behaviors, you can get to 800 or better with either scoring model. Your payment history makes up 35% of your FICO score. That means that of your potential 850 points, 297.5 of those points can come from this one category. Your payment history for each account shows if your payments were made on time or if they were late by 30, 60, 90, or even 120 days. Beyond the 120 days, the account will likely be turned over to collections or it will become a charge-off, both of which also show up as a negative mark in your payment history. Your payment history is also where any bankruptcies will appear. So if you want to join the 800 Club, you must practice good behaviors with your account payments. If you're behind on any payments, get them caught up and keep them caught up. The good news is that the farther away from the present any late payments are, the less impact they will have on your score. Since this is the most heavily weighted category in your credit score, make a plan to deal with any issues here if you want to get to 800. Every situation is different, and in some cases, the best strategy is to focus your attention on other areas that may be affecting your score and let time take care of this category. Speaking of other categories, the next biggest category and one that is keeping a lot of people from reaching that 800 milestone is the credit utilization or amounts owed category. Now this area makes up 30% of your credit score and accounts for 255 potential points. Now this category is actually broken down into 5 subcategories: the amount owed on all accounts, the amount owed on different types of accounts, meaning credit cards versus installment loans, how many accounts have balances, your credit utilization ratio on your revolving accounts, and how much of the installment amount is still owed compared to your original loan amount. The two most important things to focus on in this category is 1, make sure your installment loans, meaning your auto loans, personal loans, and mortgages, show a steady decline in balance. One bad example would be an auto loan that you got behind on the payments and then work with the creditor to move the missed payments to the back end of the loan. You familiar with that situation? The problem with that is twofold. First, the missed payments have more than likely already been reported as late on your credit report, so that's negatively impacting your payment history. And second, the lender has likely charged you a fee to move those payments, so your balance has likely increased, which negatively impacts the amount owed. The second important thing to focus on in this category is your debt utilization on your credit cards. Your debt utilization ratio is simply the current balance on any card divided by the credit limit on that card. For instance, if you have a credit card that has a $10,000 credit limit and you currently have a balance of $3,000 on that card, that's 30% utilization. The best strategy is to pay your balances in full each month, but if you're still working on getting to that point, then keep these two milestones in mind. When your utilization drops below 30%, you will see your score improve. And when the balance falls below 10%, you will see your score improve even more. If you want to make it into the 800 club, you must manage your debt utilization. Okay, so far we've talked about your behaviors in 2 of the 5 categories that make up your FICO score. But if you're doing everything right, those 2 categories alone can account for 552.5 points. So now let's move on to the 3rd category, which is your length of credit history. This category accounts for 15% or 127.5 points on your road to 800. When it comes to length of credit history, your FICO score takes 3 things into account. 1, how long your credit accounts have been open, including the age of your oldest account, the age of your newest account, and an average age of all your accounts. And 2, how long specific accounts have been open. And 3, how long it has been since the account has been used. Generally speaking, the longer your credit history, the better. One mistake that people sometimes make that may keep them out of the 800 club is they will close old accounts. The reason this might be a mistake is that you could be losing good payment history and lowering your average length of credit history. If you're trying to get into the 800 club, keep those old accounts open and use that card occasionally for small purchases and pay the balance in full. This keeps the account active and it increases your length of history average. The 4th category that you need to manage is your credit mix or types of credit. This category only accounts for 10% or 85 points on your credit score, but it can still be very important in your quest for 800. Lenders assess the risk of lending you money through a variety of factors, including your ability to successfully manage different types of credit. So your FICO score takes that into account also. Now your mix of accounts can include credit cards, retail accounts, installment loans, finance company, and mortgage loans. But you don't have to have all types on your credit report, but a good mix of both short-term smaller accounts and longer-term larger accounts will help ensure that you're getting as many of these 85 points as possible. The final category of your FICO score is new credit and miscellaneous. Now this category is also worth 10% and a potential 85 points. A couple of things to keep in mind about this category if you're trying to get to 800. First, new credit could be a good thing or a bad thing depending on your individual circumstances. For instance, if you're trying to improve your credit mix and you open one new account, you could see your credit score improve. But if you open multiple accounts in a short period of time, it could actually lower your credit score. That's because this type of behavior could lead creditors to believe that you're headed for trouble, whether that's true or not. The other thing to keep in mind about this category is that this is where your hard inquiries show up. Hard inquiries typically only lower your score by just a few points, and FICO only considers inquiries made in the last 12 months, even though they stay on your report for 2 years. But if you try to open multiple accounts in a short period of time, those few points for each inquiry can add up and might be enough to keep you from reaching 800. Listen, the bottom line is if you want to join the 20% of Americans who feel confident and secure knowing they will get the best rates on credit cards and loans, you have to start by knowing what's keeping you out of the club. Then you need to focus your behaviors on the areas that will get you into the club. Focus on the highest impact areas first. Make sure you practice good behaviors when it comes to your payment history. Keep your debt utilization as low as possible. Don't close old accounts with good history, and keep them active with small purchases once or twice a year. Demonstrate that you can manage different types of credit, but don't try to open too many accounts in a short period of time. Getting into the 800 Club is all about practicing good financial behaviors over time. And you know what I always say, change your behaviors and you can change your life. So until next time, behave well.